Hi everyone, it's late October here in Bootle, and over there is the Johnson's building, which closed about 10 years ago. It's a lovely factory. Stopped production about 10 years ago. I think they turned it into flats now. This is Hawthorne Road, big long artery, goes through Bootle, down into Liverpool that way, Crosby that way. There's the Kingfisher estate up the hill. And there's the Mill Inn, which is one of the only pubs left locally. It's like a social club. All the pubs around here have closed. This all used to be factories, now it's housing. There's a new pub here called the Feathers, a few shops. And I've got a theory that this area, Hawthorne Road, there's a few roads around here, Melville Road, Thackeray, are named after American authors or authors of some type. But like, it's hard to find that on the internet for something so local. It's nearly Halloween, so everyone's got like Halloween stuff up. It's a bit of a miserable day, but I wanted to catch the colours of autumn up the street, which I think are amazing. Margaret Avenue. My dad's friend, best friend, died recently. Big Evertonian, lovely guy. Lives on that street. And walking down Harris Drive, there's loads of memories for me, because it's the street I was born on, not literally. It's where my family home still is, and I've lived here for about 10 years of my life. I've lived elsewhere, but for close to 4 decades I've lived here. These are all new housing estates here. That used to be a brownfield site. Some solar panels up there, good. Get them up, I say. It's a bit of a hill, this road, and like, when I was a kid, walking up this hill seemed like climbing Mount Everest. Alright, here's Craig. Are you alright going on this video? I put it on YouTube. So I go on it. Craig's a great footballer, and it's his grandfather who was my dad's best mate. So take it easy, mate. See you later. Great footballer, eh? Craig. So where's Montfort Road? Now this has been, they put like traffic calming speed bumps on these roads all around here. It's meant to be like 20 miles per hour in residential areas, if you share them up. But you can walk right through that now. It used to be blocked, and all the houses have been done. There's an estate over there called the Klondike Estate, which back in the day was really like advanced housing and stuff, and well-built housing. And obviously it aged, and all those streets, they were all crammed in together, so they knocked them all down. My best mate when I was a kid lived on that street, Melville Road, named after him, and Melville, who wrote Moby Dick, I think. But there's another estate up there called the Lakes Estate, named after all lakes in the Lake District, which is kind of quirky. Big houses on Harris Drive down here. The Klondike down there, all the houses were really packed together. So when over like a couple of decades, everyone moved out. There were still people living there, like one person living on the street. You know, like, who didn't move out. And I went past and they'd plastic them all up, and they had like, you know, all these. I was thinking, like, you know, where are the memories gone? If they've gone with the people, would they still part of the fabric of the houses? And just walk down these deserted streets with my dog. This is about 15 years ago, but it's all being rebuilt now, spaced out, new housing, affordable housing. Even though no one can afford to live in them, particularly young people. First time buyers, the cost of rent, cost of living, hitting hard at the minute. And it hits deprived areas hard. But it's a lovely street, Harris Drive. And I remember all these trees, they must have been there 30 years ago now, but when I was a kid the trees were massive and he knocked them all down and put little ones in, but they're all growing again now. But it just keeps the place cool in summer. I think in winter it helps, I don't know, keep it warm at ground level. Like they do in the continent. You go to like France and Spain, they cover the streets with trees to help with the heat. There's Springwell Avenue. So the Klondike's down there, it's all being done up again. I keep getting memories of people who used to live in these houses around here. My old dog Kayla, who used to run Cubs when I was a kid at the school up the road. She lived in one of these houses, she's no longer with us. There was a girl who was in my class at school down here who no longer lives in that area. We're now getting to the top of the hill on Harris Drive. remember when me and my mate used to like play out when we were a kid. There's kids on bikes singing here. As you do. These two new houses were just like built randomly amongst all the old houses. About 40 years ago, I remember them getting built. I remember there was a robbery, I think, at this house, and I went past on my bike and I asked the police officer in a car what had happened, and he went, first of all, you shouldn't be riding your bike on the side of the road. You should be driving it on the road. You shouldn't be driving it on the pavement. Secondly, you've just called me mate, you should call me officer. And thirdly, whatever's happened, none of your business. And I've thought about this for many years, and what I should have said to him is, well, I'm too young to drive on the road, mate. I was about 6 or 7 or 8 or something. 2, you're a public servant and I pay your wages. And 3, if there's been a robbery, that is of concern because we live just up the road. Now is the alleyway, we used to run down this alleyway, me and my mates at night, and come out on the next street down, but you've kind of gated them all off now, but there's big problems with like trees and bushes growing in them now and people leaving the rubbish there, which may well have always been a problem, but like you've got groups like the Bootle Action Group trying to get those things clear because they don't look good. People look out the back windows and you've got alleyways overgrown and full of stuff, and I'm sure all the cuts don't help. Right, this is St Robert Bellarmine's Church, and I've heard that it's the highest point in Bootle, and during the Blitz people used to be at the top looking out for planes and stuff. When I was a kid, they used to light candles up here when the new priest got ordained. There's the 52 bus. Everyone around here knows the 52A. It's like, takes you into Bootle and then takes you into Liverpool. There's Silcox Field up there, used to play there when I was a kid, football, cricket, manhunt, all the games. And lovely trees there above the back. They tried to turn that into Astro pitches recently, and thankfully they didn't, because they should have done that at a brownfield site and left the park there, but it's still there. But I was christened there, my mum and dad were married there, my sister was christened there, I think we were both confirmed there. And now there's not that many people who go to St Robert Bellarmine's Church, so I think they just have like a mass once a week or just a few. And here's all the shops by ours, which used to be rammed on a Saturday, now no longer the case. With supermarkets and the internet and just people's habits changing. This street, by the way, they reckon it's about 120 years old. This was just fields at one point. And I remember my granddad after the war saying that he'd come back, he just fought the Nazis and that. He'd come back, they voted in the Labour government because they wanted to win the peace as well as the war. Is the parish hall, and none of this used to be here past the school. All of that up there was like the Wild West, there was nothing there. And now the conurbation has grown. Our house was built in the 1920s, and it's a very old house, but all this area behind it, which is now all conurbation, was just empty. Madness. So here's my old school, St Robert Bellarmine's, and I used to just walk across the road. And I don't know how I identify individual houses, but my family home's just here, and my nan's is just up the road. But my granddad, he said he went to work in the morning just off Southport Road, which is like, again, all big conurbation and urbanisation today, and he said you'd work in the morning and then at lunchtime he'd say, right, you go home, you haven't done enough work. And he was thinking, we've just defeated the Nazis and we're coming back to this. And I always remember him saying that, and he said that was why, one of the reasons why the Labour government won in 1945, because I think people realise, like, you know, what are we fighting for if we're coming home to be treated like that? So this is St Robert Bellarmine's. There used to be school buildings here and the dinner centre up there behind these trees. That's just all the playground for the school now. And like, I've got real memories of this place going back years. Here's all the plots, which are alongside the tracks. Now there's a train track here, and when I was a kid, this train track used to get trains going up and down to the docks and inland, and then joining the national lines. And there hasn't been a train here for over 20 years, I don't think. But it was interesting because they wanted to build houses in, there was local opposition because it's a nice green space and a wild space. When I was a kid, the train was derailed here and it was like about 10 fire engines, all ambulances and that. I think the driver broke his leg. But I remember them all being here back in the day. So down here, that used to be all levelled out and you could see everything, and then it all grew really high up here, like all these trees. They never used to be here. So about a year ago they levelled it again, but people don't know what it's going to be used for down there yet. People are talking about houses and it's private land, and you have a few residents associations who are a bit concerned about it. I'm just going to go over the road to show you the other side, because this all used to be clear down here, and look at it all now. You can like barely see the track down here, single track. It's all grown over. So my nan's house is just here, and when I was a kid, we used to call the house by the number. So I'm going up to like number whatever. Again, I won't give too much away. And I remember when I was a kid, just coming up here as a little bit of a safe haven. And whenever I'd had a bad day, or I was bored during the summer holidays, or it was a Sunday or whatever, I'd come up here and spend time there with me nan. And my nan had 11 kids, one of whom was my mum. There's Galsworthy Avenue, there's that Galsworthy, and that's Captain's Lane, and there's a little green down there, they call it the Green, this little like public field where people walk the dogs and that, and we used to have shops down there in the community centre, but it's all houses now, some of them are new. This is Thackeray Gardens, it's like a little horseshoe. I remember riding my bike down there and going round and coming back up when I was a kid, and thinking like I'd cycle to the other side of the world and back, because you had those bikes with one gear, and going uphill was hard work. But it's quite a spacious street, Harris Drive, and there's loads of trees here, and it might be considered like a little bit more kind of affluent part of Bootle. I don't know. My mum said on a podcast once there was like a dividing line on the bridge, you know, and I remember when I was a kid there were certain areas like down the other end of the street where, oh, don't go past there, to be like, you know, some tough kids around there. Like this is the end of Harris Drive, and we're going to Kirkstone Road now, and I'm not going to go much further. This street here is called Ennerdale, and this is the Lakes Estate. They're all named after lakes in the Lake District. And I wanted to capture some of the colours of autumn today, because I've always wanted to go to New England in the fall and see those colours. You get beautiful reds and yellows, which I think I might have walked past some without taking them. But I used to walk to my secondary school, took 10 minutes going down Ennerdale there. And this is Kirkstone Road. So this was my little universe when I was a kid, before mobile phones and the internet. And you used to walk around on the streets a lot and get up to stuff, and I was a good kid really, like, but sometimes you saw stuff, and sometimes we'd have like a bottle of cider maybe on the railway embankment that I showed you before, because that was what we did. And the streets seem a lot quieter now, like you definitely get like less kids hanging around on streets, which I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing. And here's the bus stop for the 135 and the 235, which are like these two local bus routes that go round down some obscure streets that connect Bootle together and go up to Aintree. So it was one of the bus stops. And I remember I went on holiday in like 1986 and come back, and this new route had been established. And it really was a good route for getting everyone into like where they needed to be, along some of these quieter streets and stuff. It was a good service. Still going now. And it's quite busy in the day, but you see them at night time, like, and there's, you know, not many people on the bus. I know Manchester's recently, not nationalised, but took into public control the bus services again. Remember all the prices went up when they got privatised. It's another story. Just going past me nans again. I'll just show you the reds on these trees here. See this one? Yellow. beautiful. So there is a little time of the year, like usually around this time, October, when you get just beautiful colours in the trees, and sometimes when they last for a few days you get these reds and that. Bootle say in the great film Ferris Bueller's Day Off, life moves pretty fast and if you blink you might miss it. He's right, so look around you, see what's there, support local business, keep in contact with each other. I remember when there was a really bad snowfall one winter. We don't get much snow in Bootle, and the snow was like about, I don't know, half a metre or whatever, probably an exaggeration, and like everything comes to a halt, you know, in Canada, like it just be a normal day or whatever, but they've got the infrastructure needs to it. And some of the games of footy I had on this yard as a kid in school, the arguments, jumpers for goalposts, did it go in, did it not go in, heavy. And like me and my mates who like outside school, we used to play footy on that field, the arguments over whether it went in or not, and like I remember like this used to all be grass here, and we'd play football under the street lights, deep into the night, getting covered in mud, freezing cold, and it was great, it was great. I'll just show you these reds on these trees. There's a beautiful red tree over there, can you see it, just in between like that, beautiful. But I think it's important that we value our local areas. Yeah, this is a nice colour. This one's just on the turn. These were beautiful reds a few days ago. I should have got out sooner. There's murder here as well at like 3 o'clock when everyone's picking the kids up from school. Can't get close to the house sometimes. And I'll just finish showing you this beautiful tree. So get out in your community, support each other. But anyway, as I was saying about the snow, I think it was the last time everyone was out on the street and like we were all waving at each other, and like people don't come out anymore or talk to the neighbours as much, do they? Sound like me half fella. This is a beautiful colour on top, this tree. So we'll finish with that. But yeah, it snowed. And everyone was out like shoveling away because it was deep snow. Like it was a few days where, you know, people weren't in work. I think it was Christmas time anyway. So many people might have been off, and schools were off for the Christmas period. But everyone was out talking to each other and like waving at each other, and there was just something like great about it. You know what I mean? So I think people get isolated in the home sometimes, and like particularly people who live alone and elderly people. Relatives often move far away, don't they? It's a big problem, loneliness. Here's my dad looking out. Right, I'm back at the family home. Look after yourselves, look after each other, support local business, appreciate your environment, look after it. Bootle Action Group doing great work in the community, cleaning up. And speak to you soon.